So it is Monday and you don't have your video. The reason for that obviously is we had our open house, our Mother's Day open house on Sunday, and it was huge. Many of you are wondering why my child in the back is not at school. That's a very good question. He's not at school because Big Fred is still here. And I told the school today that Big Fred is 237 years old this year, and we wanted to make sure that Ollie spent as much time with him as he could in his twilight. So we kept the kids home from school on Monday. I'm on my way to the barn to check on some horses. As you guys know, the biggest thing is not just the day they train, it's the day after they train. What goes on the day after they train? Are they eating good? Are they feeling good? Are they got their head over the gate? Are they hanging their head in the stall in the back corner? Don't want to see that. So, although we are treating this Monday like a Sunday, I'm going to go down and take a look at the horses. Take a look at the horses and see how they were. Just a fabulous overall production yesterday. Kelly Spencer did a great job. Curtis did a great job. Luke, Jamie Fellows did a fantastic job. I hope we're not missing anybody from the production side. All the grooms. Oh, yeah, sorry. Right. Billy O'Donnell and Fred McDonald did a fantastic job again with their useless drivel and jokes throughout the entire day. Just a fantastic job. And Ollie, you did a pretty good job too, bud, right? Ollie said he didn't like Starbucks juice. What do you think of that juice, Ollie?
Love it.
Oh, you love it all of a sudden. Yeah. Don't get used to it. It's like $4. Anyway, we had a great job. Everybody did a great job. The staff, tremendous. Our clients. We had over 400 people at that training center yesterday. Now, the weather was good. The horses were good. We had 400 people come out on Mother's Day. And not only that, we had people from all over Canada, and we had 11 states of the United States represented at that open house yesterday. People from 11 states came across the border. Steve Blizzard flew in the morning of from Virginia to watch the horses go. So just a tremendous day all around, and can't thank everybody enough. Just a great job all around. So we'll get everything started. Obviously, some highlights of the week. Now, those of you everybody keeps emailing, geez, good luck with getting your 3,000, getting your 3,000. It's one win. I did get 2,999 before that. I will get to 3,000 eventually. I kind of was a little bummed out last night after the open house. I told everybody, I think I said it on the broadcast too, I thought my best shot at Flamborough was Road Tripper. And you guys know how much I like horses that try hard. They don't have to be the best horses, just try your heart out. And all the horses that stick out in my mind over my driving career and my training career that I have a special place for are hard-working horses. And Road Tripper, I would have loved to break his maiden and win my 3,000th race last night. We started into the backstretch, and it was an absolute certainty he was going to win. He was going to absolutely jog. James was on the front end. He was all done. All I had to do was sit there, and Jody moved out in front of me. I knew he was coming, so I just moved over, and I just called on Tripper for a second, and he near jumped right out of his skin, and he did make a break. So it was pretty heartbreaking. You'd think that I lost the Maple Leaf Trot or something. I was pretty bummed out for a while. Plus, the City of London series is coming up, and now that he's made 2 breaks in a row, he can't race in it this Friday. So it was a double kick in the nuts last night, so to speak, when the Tripper made a break. But as I said to people that were, and we had a lot, you imagine now after the open house how many people from away were over at Flamborough watching to see if I got my 3,000 win. So it was bittersweet. It was a great day, and just a fantastic day, capped off by something that, in the bigger scheme of things is really not going to matter. Road Tripper will qualify. I'll tell you what he is. He's an extremely fast horse. I don't know what kind of horse he'll make at 3. He'll be a good horse, but he'll be a fantastic horse at 4. And for those of you out there that are, that understand, we race 2 and 3-year-olds, and you say, well, what's the good of that? There's nothing better than having a really talented trotter. And if they show up at 4 or they show up at 5, it's not the end of the world. There's still lots of money to be made. And Road Tripper is going to be a good horse. I can read your mind. You're saying, why didn't you have a seatbelt on? I put my seatbelt on. See that? Anyway, so it was a fantastic day. We did have some highlights this week. Master Saver 3 flat lines in a row. Finally turning into a trotter. Took some time off. I mean, he's not setting any land speed records. He trotted in 2-1, I think, last half 59, probably last quarter in 29 to bet, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the official results. But all in all, he did very, very well. Cruising in style. I didn't mean to mention Master Saver ahead of Cruising in Style. Cruising in Style. So everybody knows, Lawmaker was our best horse this year, and he's still got a race this year. There's no gimmies. I assume he's our best horse, but he may not be. I assume he is. So he made a break on Friday, which was really hard to take. It meant that he couldn't go to the first stake race at the Meadows, but in hindsight, they're shipping today. So Canally Hanover's now leaving by himself this morning, and Lawmaker come up sick after the qualifier. So even if he had a qualified, I couldn't put him on a truck Monday morning to go to Pennsylvania or anywhere else. So he would have missed this weekend anyway. I looked quickly on his staking schedule. He's got 18 added money event races left on his schedule. So not really concerned with the Meadows on Saturday. So Canally Hanover's leaving. Lawmaker will qualify on Friday, and he will head out shortly after that. First and foremost, getting him healthy. He didn't eat all his supper, which is very rare. Very rare. Didn't eat all his supper on Friday night. Picked away at his lunch on Saturday. Seemed to eat everything yesterday at the open house. So that was good. Jason, I was a little concerned, obviously, because there was a couple of horses sick down in that barn. But Canally Hanover got sick after his qualifier, and we treated him up. He trained awesome on Saturday. I didn't go with him. Jason went with him, said he went really, really well. So it's not that shocking, I guess, but it is part of life. Not much you can do about it. But Cruising in Style made his first start of the year. Qualified in 57-2, home in 28-2 at Woodbine. Sent him down to Andrew Harris. He trained him once, put him in to go in the gold. I don't know what the New York Sire Stakes at Vernon Downs on Friday night, and he was beat 2 lengths in 153-1. Raced awesome, whacked it all out. He gets it, obviously, for those of you, again, that I assume everybody follows what we do, but if you don't, that's fine. Cruising in Style has always been a real headstrong colt. He's better now. He's not as bad as he was, but he can still get pretty grabby, and Jimmy Morrell Jr. was up on him. Put him on the front. Went 28-2, 28 flat, 56-2, 124-4, 53-1, and he just got a little tired. Obviously, his first start of the year, just got a little tired at the wire. Finished third. Raced great though, fantastic. So a great start of the year for our big three, if you will. Big start of the year for Cruising in Style. As I said, Lawmaker's going to qualify Friday. Canally Hanover is leaving this morning to head to Andrew Harris in New Jersey, where he will race in the Meadows this coming Saturday afternoon. What else do we got? We talked about Road Tripper, made a break. I'm over it now. It took a while, but I'm over it now. Beck's Pride raced better last week. I tell people all the time, they say, why do you still have Beck's Pride? Well, he's a 59 pacer and a maiden. He's not a very good horse. And I said, well, he wants to be a good horse, though. He tries. Every week he gets a little bit faster. Every week he gets a little bit smarter. And he tries. So if he's picking up money and he's wanting to do his job and he's continuing to move forward, why in the name of earth would I get rid of him? So I'm happy with Beck's Pride, and I truly believe that this horse will turn into a raceway horse. I don't think he's going to be a stake colt this year, but he's going to turn into a raceway horse. And for the people at Center, it's the horse. I mean, Susan and all the people that owned and had the connections of Redwood again. Redwood again popped up my screen. Beck's Pride. I mean, I really appreciate the opportunity to train the horse down for you, and I hope we have some luck with the horse. I mean, that's what it's all about, having a little fun, racing some horses. It's not always about winning millions of dollars, and if it was, this industry would be much, much smaller. So, hopefully we're going to have some fun with Beck's Pride moving forward. He's picked for second, I believe, off the rail on Wednesday, and I'm driving him Wednesday. So he'll probably find himself somewhere near the front end at Western Fair Raceway on Wednesday evening. Maybe even. He's the first horse I drive from here in. So he might be my 3,000th win, might be Beck's Pride. So hopefully he is. I'd love to see Beck's Pride win. Dancing at Midland, had a little bad luck with Dancing at Midland. I'll tell you what, Kevin, for those of you that don't understand, Kevin McMaster's a tremendous horseman. He came up to me Tuesday morning last week, and he said, "Hey, I went to train Dancing at Midland today." He said, "I jogged him, he seemed fine, he knuckled over a little bit. I turned him, so knuckling over would be like stumbling behind." He said, "I turned him in to go his mile. He just didn't seem comfortable." He said he was over on the right shaft more. He said, "I wasn't sure, so I didn't train him." He said, "Can we get him looked at just to make sure?" I said, "Absolutely." So he called up to the clinic, up to Dr. McKee's, and said, we should get this colt looked at, and when can we bring him up? And we took him up right away. So I'm just trying to word it the best way I can. So Dr. McKee looked at the horse. Dr. McKee looked at the horse and said, she x-rayed him twice and said, hold on, Oliver. X-rayed him twice and said, he might have what's called a stinger. Now, I don't, and people in this industry, I don't think know what a stinger is. I think it's like a pleasure horse term, or maybe a thoroughbred term, I don't know. Or maybe I'm an idiot and I should know. I don't know. But a stinger would be when you hit the foot on the front of the bone and it causes a bruise on the bone. It'd be like smashing your shin into your bed. How annoying is that? So she said it could be a stinger, and he'll be fine in a week. She goes, but what I'd like you to do is put him in a stall for a week and don't do anything with him, because what I think I could see also is a shadow in his cannon bone. She said two things. One, if you had to train him, that might have opened up to a fracture. If it is in fact a stress line, that could have opened up to a fracture, in which case you might have needed anything from time in the stall to screws in that cannon bone. Secondly, she said if you had raced him Thursday, and that is a stress line, you would have certainly ended his career. So for Kevin McMaster, fantastic job picking up that the horse wasn't comfortable enough. Sorry, it's a bad road. Wasn't comfortable enough to train on Tuesday morning, and potentially saved his career, because if it is a stress line, it's 4 weeks in the stall, dump him in a pool, and he'll be back at it in no time. If it's stinger, when we take him up and get him looked at this afternoon, won't be a problem at all. So for Kevin, great job. I think it goes without saying, he's a great horseman, but great job. Could have really saved this horse's career. So a good job all around. He'll be back in no time, regardless if it is a stress line or a stinger. Won't be long, we'll have Dancing Midland back on the track and back going fast. Delmar J, all of you also know, has had some issues with lameness and soundness moving forward for the last 2 months almost. And Kevin's got him good now. I raced him for him, drove him for the first time in quite a while in London the other night. Couldn't help but be short. The horse hasn't done much other than jog and train lightly for 4.5 weeks, and he went out and finished third. I thought the horse raced tremendous. It wasn't a fast mile. I think he trotted 2.5 or something, maybe 2.7. Maybe they went 2.5, but it was pouring rain right before. A little frustrated sometimes. I just lost you there. I was talking about Delmar J. I changed some settings on my phone. I don't know what the hell I did. Now when somebody calls me, it shuts the video off. No, yours is right there, Fred. It shuts the video off. There's Lawmaker there, Joe. It shuts the video off. Anyway, whatever. Delmar J. Delmar J's had some real issues with lameness over the last 2 months. Just a lot of stuff. If he was a racehorse, it would be what a trainer would call racehorse issues. He's not a racehorse, a baby. So Delmar J, his racing mentality is very tough. It's a very strong horse. I really hope he turns into be an effective racehorse, because he wants to be on the track, and he's got 4 or 5 little things that kind of bite away at him all the time. They'll get better with time, I believe, but he's tough. So he went out the other night. Kevin's got him in a spot now where he's sound. He's got him good. He's got him feeling good, but he's not tight. It's tough to keep a horse tight that has those issues. So it was raining the other night, finished third, trotted a mile, and I don't know what he trotted in. They went 2.5. He probably trotted 2.7, I guess. But you got to understand, London's a slower track, and when it's raining and they go slow fractions, it is what it is. I don't care about the time. I look at the entire body of work, if you will, of what Delmar J did the other night. Did a very, very good job, and I was very, very happy and proud to see that he was sound and doing his work well. So good job to Kevin. Good job for Delmar J. Also, that's them two. And who else did Kevin? Stonebridge Hall trained in 2.4. Why did I start recording? I started recording on this bumpy road again. Sorry, everybody. Looks like Blair Witch Project here. I might be able to tighten it underneath here, maybe. Oh, that's about as tight as it gets. Stonebridge Hall trained awesome the other day, and I know everybody's antsy, like, when's he qualifying? Went up to the vet for a final checkup of that left hind suspensory. She said 100% perfect, looks great, is in great shape. So Kevin trained him Saturday morning, 2.4. He looked tremendous. So happy holidays. She's back. Trained her in 2.1. They're both going to be qualifying this coming Friday at Mohawk Raceway. We will have now Road Tripper will have to qualify. Road Tripper will qualify. So will Stonebridge Hall, and happy holidays. So it's great to have them back going good. Facing Justice, we've talked about him, how he had that abscess. We couldn't get it out. We did get some stuff out of his foot. He is sound now. Geez, we had a client come by the other day. And he was asking the groom, why is he so skinny? Well, he's always skinny. He's a small horse, but he did lose a little bit of weight through this all, as you can imagine. It's a pretty stressful time for him. We changed his feed 3 or 4 times, trying to make sure he continued to eat and keep his weight up. Now he's back in his feed. We'll get that weight back on him in no time, get him back going. Kevin said he's going to train him on Wednesday. I would assume if he trains good, you'll probably see him school within the next week or so. No, it's a frustrating endeavor when it happens, but that's racing. We get Dancing in Midland in the stall with a potential line in his cannon bone. Shadow right now, we'll know today. We dodged a bullet with Boston Glide last week. We're going to talk about that in a little while. And when you look at the bigger scheme of things, missing a couple of weeks for an abscess is much better than having a cracked bone or an injury of some sort. So, I'm looking at Lima's son standing in the stall still, or for those of you in Ohio, Lima's son. Look at this phone. Oh my God. Decline. Just finished eating breakfast. I deleted the phone app that kept doing this. Oh, here's Fred, but get back in. I deleted the phone app that kept screwing up. So it's gone now. It is dead. We were talking about Facing Justice. I talked about Dancing in Midland, Delmar J, Happy Holidays, Road Tripper, unfortunate break last night. Art Seeker raced good again, raced really good on Thursday, finished third, I believe. He's almost ready to cut real loose, that colt. I'd like to maybe get one more start into him and run him over to Mohawk. I think he's ready to go a big mile. He's come a long, long way in a short time, that colt, and he's been racing really good. Actually, what am I saying? He's in the city of London. He's racing Tuesday, so hopefully he won't be to Mohawk for a couple of weeks yet. Tortola Sunrise missed a start last week. I was a little pissed off. We entered 2 horses. Jason entered Roach Run Speedster in the 15, and Kevin entered Tortola Sunrise, and it had nothing to do with the stable, but I guess, we had raced horses against each other all winter. There was no big deal, and other trainers did also, but now the race office is saying they'll only accept entries from 2 entities. They call us an entity, I guess. From 2 entities in the maiden or the open. So I guess they get to pick and choose. Whatever. It's their sandbox. They can do what they want. And we're just going to have to be cognizant of that and move the horses around a little bit sometimes. What else? Stonebridge Hall. I said he's ready to go. He's going to go Friday. Pay the line. Blue chip. Big Philly took a lifetime mark in the mud the other night. 58-3. She looked great. Really, really good. I was really happy. Really happy with her. She had some speed, obviously, all winter. But made a lot of breaks. She had a little soreness, some soreness issues, right sesamoid. Had some I guess what you'd call arthritis in it. You know, it was just a rough-looking sesamoid. It bothers her from time to time, but it didn't bother her the other night. She was very, very good. Kevin has got her really, really good. Beck's Pride again raced. We talked about him earlier. Raced good. Raced good this week. Finished 4th, but I thought he could have been 2nd had he been able to shoot through the inside a little quicker. Slowly but surely he's coming. He's getting better and better and better. I believe now that is all Kevin. Oh, no, it's not. Oh my God, I almost missed book the bet again. They would have killed me. Book the bet. See, I have it written down like this, and I booked the bet up here in this corner because I forgot her the one week. Book the bet. These are not in alphabetical order, obviously. Book the bet raced. Didn't race last week, but trained awesome. I happened to be pulling in the training center Friday morning, and I watched Kevin cut her loose in the bike. That's probably the best I've seen her train in a race bike in a year. Looked fantastic. She's in Tuesday in the City of London. City of London's are no cakewalks this year. Both the Philly Pacers and and Pacing Colts that have already drawn out are very, very tough. I think they're both around 3 or 4 to 1, and deservedly so. And they got a shot, but they're going to have to bring their A game, both her and Art Seeker, to Western Fair Raceway on Tuesday, tomorrow, Tuesday. So when you watch it tonight. So that's Kevin. That's Cruising in Style, Lawmaker Canale Hanover we talked about. We'll move over to Jason. I don't know, there's... What the hell was that? That boy needs a shirt. My God. Anyway, now we have Jason. Jason had a decent week also. I think I do have these ones. I do, in alphabetical order, kind of. Airway moved from a condition claimer into a straight condition race. And raced really well this week. He finished 6th, but he paced like 57, in with some tough customers. I think we did have some interest in Airway after his last race, and the owner in England, Paul, decided he wanted to keep his horse. I don't blame him. We just got to find a spot for him, a more consistent, regular spot for him, and Airway will be just fine. He may come to Ohio with us, racing either the Buckeye Stakes or the fair racing. Either way, they go for decent money. You know, you say fair racing, even for me, you think no money. You know, they don't go race for anything. But the fairs in Ohio race for decent money. I would say between $6,000 and $8,000, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what he's going to race for here. So still money to be made. You know, if they race him 4 times a month, make a couple thousand here or there. 8,000 Americans, 11 Canadian. So I think 11 Canadian. It's not a bad business proposition if you can get it. Obviously, you have to go get it first. So Airway raced okay this week, kind of in a bit of a limbo area where we're trying to find a good spot for him now. Might take a little bit of time, but we'll get there. Boston Glide. Now I was going to touch on. I'll touch on Boston Glide. American League raced great Sunday night. Finished 5th. Got a few little things bothering him. I think his back's a little sore. His right hock, his lower hock was bothering him a bit, and his right knee, and he has a splint on his right front. So when you see him running in, really everything on the right side bothers him a little bit. So that's what's up with American League, and Jason had brought this to my attention last week. He's been addressing it all week. He raced good last week, raced okay last night, trotted better last night, but faster, I mean. But we're trying to combat all those issues, all very minor, but you know, 4 minor issues equate to can equate to something more major, or at least look more major, if they're not all addressed. So working on those. Boston Glide. Here's the scoop on Boston Glide. So Boston Glide got off to a slow start in his career. I think he's had 6 starts. First 2 starts he was no good. Trotted 2 minutes, 2-1, whatever at Mohawk. Looked okay, but he's a big soft colt. Hangs on the right line a little bit. Puts a few steps in, but you could tell like he's out of a half sister to Sandpale. So you can tell there's lots of blood in the bloodline there. He's a nice horse, but you know what he was going to do, I don't know. So trotted 2-1, 2 minutes, and we took him over to Flamborough. We went in 2-6, but it was like muddy as hell that day. He raced good, so it's really tough to quantify what that actually meant. And then we raced him his next start, and I was second in 2-2, I think, with him. So then we took him to Mohawk. Before we raced him at Mohawk, we had the razor pads on his feet. So you have the shoe on the horse, and then we had a black pad underneath that really protected the frog. And it really took a lot of the cushion out of the force of him hitting the ground, because he is a big boy. But the other side of that coin is doesn't get a hold of the track sometimes as well. So the track was a little deep over at Mohawk. We opted to take the flip-flops off of him. I noticed when I post-paraded him, I thought he was a little off left front. Now, back a ways in January, February, he did a nasty quarter crack left front, and that pad helped him. But Jesus, it shouldn't have been bothering him all this time now, back in May and start of May and April. It shouldn't still be bothering him, not even close. So I was a little surprised. I saw him a little funny left front. Raced him, second and 58, 2 moved him. He raced great, raced fantastic. And after the race, I'd said to Jason, you know, his knees were always a little bit dry. We had to stop with him. So the check ligament in the horse is in behind the knee at the top of the tendon. So if you have the knee here and the tendon at the back, right in here is the check ligament. It was bothering him. And we stopped with him as a 2-year-old. That really stopped him because we couldn't keep it from straining, if you will. And we didn't want to hurt the colt, so we trained him in 2-2 as a 2-year-old and stopped with him. So we were cognitive. I was cognitive of that was still there. It's possible, especially when you see a horse off left front. He's going to be loading extra weight onto his right front. You know, old injury becomes new injury. So I'm always thinking about these things, and I'm always concerned. I was talking to Jason about it. I said, his knees are dry. He's a little bit off left front. I don't know why. And we got that check ligament that was there last year, probably knocking on the door of it. We better address this. So we did have him checked, and they couldn't really find a whole lot. So we put a blister on his knees. I think he put a big blister on his knees and checks and curbs behind. And his right stifle bothers him a little bit too. So we had his right stifle injected, put a blister on him. And he trained him Friday. So I said, don't even train him at the farm, maybe take him over to Mohawk before the qualifiers to train the horse on the big track so it's not that much stress on him. I talked to him after. He said the horse trained good. He went a mile in 2:9. He come 30 seconds flat. Nice, easy mile. He said, I never asked him. He was really good. This is a colt, by the way, that will not need the trotting hobbles much longer. I would say if we miss any time with this horse, I might even try and qualify him without them before we send him to, and that's the other thing, is I think he'll be able to go to Pennsylvania. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Race him his second start at Mohawk, so his last start. I leave a little bit with him, but now he's up a class, so I don't want to scorch him out of there. I leave a bit with him. I get in the 4 or 5 hole. He gets shuffled back in the last turn. And Boston Glide's a big colt. He's not a sprinter. You know, he's a bit of a grinder. He can accelerate, but not like a little horse. So I'm sitting 7th. I kind of crash my way out a little bit, and I'm in a blind switch, and the rail is starting to open up, and I jam him down to the inside, and I ask him, you know, a big horse like him, he should be exhausted. He hit a gear, and he was sprinting through the wire. It was 4th, beat half a length. His own mile was 1:56 last quarter and 28.1. And a very impressive mile, considering I just qualified Canally Hanover the day before in 57. James went with him. No, I didn't go. James went with him, and he qualified great. So he went a mile in 57.1. So we're sending Canally Hanover to the stake races. Boston Glide just trotted a full 2nd and a 5th faster than him the next night. So as I'm pulling the horse up, I'm thinking he still is a little bit off left front. I can't see what would be bothering him. A little bit even right front also, a little tender on both front and over on the left shaft. So I said, obviously stifle needs to be addressed again. I'm thinking check ligament, maybe left foot, maybe left knee. I'm not sure. We got to get this horse to the vet or he's going to hurt himself. I don't even get the lines hung up, and I can see his leg, just the back. So that where you have the tendon on the back, the suspensory ligaments are in the middle, and the bone on the front, so to speak. So the suspensory, you can clear, see it plain as day. It just went like this, down, and then whoop, and down to the bottom. A bulge on both sides, which usually, almost every time, and you have to be tremendously lucky for it not to be, you're thinking torn suspensory. Torn suspensory on a horse that big, goodbye year. You might see him at Christmas time. So I'm going through my head. I'm thinking all these things we're going to address, and I'm waiting to talk to Jason. I look down, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So we hung lines up, and I said to the groom, make sure, you know, you're going to have to put a cool cast on that. We give him 2 days, take him up to the clinic. Now I've told all the owners that, you know, brace yourself. Something bad's about to happen. Take him up to the clinic. I get a call from the vet. She said, I've ultrasounded this for 45 minutes and I cannot find a tear. Well, 1, good. It's great. 2, what's going on in his leg? She said she believes it's cellulitis, that he got an infection in his leg and it blew out. It was trying to blow out, which to me, made... I've been training horses 21 years, and Kevin is in the next shed row of Jason, and we're talking about it later on. Kevin comes over and he goes, I had 3 horses, had the exact same thing back in the day, which was good. I said, I'd never seen anything like this. So they put him on antibiotics. He's actually going up, so you're watching this Tuesday, yesterday, so this afternoon he's going up to the clinic to get re-ultrasounded. And then she told me, I said, listen, put yourself in my shoes. I said, I told our clients to brace themselves. Secondly, now you're going to have them email me and say, no, it's not as severe as we thought. Please make sure. She said, and Dr. McKee, Melissa McKee, is an extremely intelligent vet, very smart lady. And she said, I'm confident in saying there's no tear there. So, really dodged a bullet with Boston Glide. I mean, really dodged a bullet. I was sick over it all night. I couldn't believe, this colt come such a long way. Virtually from the night in the mud at Flamborough to the other night at Mohawk was 10 seconds difference. For those of you out there that know a lot about racing, that's 50 lengths. So, really happy that he didn't injure himself how we thought. Now the problem is the cellulitis wasn't the reason he was sore. Left front, right hind. So as he goes up there to get that leg checked again today, I asked her to get an extremely close look, fluoroscope, ultrasound, do what you have to do, get to the bottom of what's going on with this colt, because he is going to be a stake colt very soon. Very impressed and very, very lucky with Boston Glide this week. Where are we at now? Broadway Maya was claimed. Had to say goodbye to Broadway Maya. I think we all knew this was coming. She had won 6 in a row in that class. She only had 2 starts left. The racing in Ottawa is a little bit cheaper, and not to degrade what she's done. She's just a nice filly, and I think she's going to do well for the people that claimed her, if they can keep her from tying up, which I assume they can. She should do some good for them. So good for her, because she really was running out of classes here in Ontario. Well, I say Ontario. Rito Carlton's obviously in Ontario. Running out of classes in the GTA, let's say. Buckeye Babe missed a start. They were heading to London last week, and there was an accident on the road and couldn't get there in time, so they were scratched. So we took her over to keep her tight. We took her over and schooled her at Mohawk. She bled. 1 out of 5, not bad, but when you look at as I said, when you look at the total body of work, this is a filly that trotted hard on the end of it all last year. We brought her back this year, and then if you remember, the people that watch, 2 starts ago, I was on the front with her, got everything my own way. She folded up and finished 3rd. So she may be bleeding. She may need to be on Lasix, so we're going to put her on Lasix. Jason had said he had entered the slip for her. She should be able to race this weekend. So if she is in fact bleeding, she should be much, much, much better this week when she races her first start on Lasix. Fan the Flames, keeps getting better, keeps getting better. A lot of people said, oh, he faded to 5th. He come on a bit, but he was tired. Yeah, I left out of the 9 hole. There was a huge headwind. It took me the one thing about Fan the Flames, when you decide to leave with them, he usually cross over in front of them. It took me all the way to the turn under maximum acceleration to get to the front with this colt. It was windy. He was really struggling in it. He made front, settled for a bit, let one go, got shuffled back, kind of get out late and got jostled and ducked him to the inside. Yeah, he could have sprinted through to win. He didn't. Finished 5th. He'd beat 3 lengths maybe. I don't know. I thought he raced great. This colt's getting better and better and better every time. He's learning how to race. And when you get a colt that big, that's got that big a frame and that big of an engine in him, it takes time for him to put the proper muscle on. So, Fan the Flames, always picking up checks, always racing good. And he will bounce back soon enough. Mystical Mission, racing shit the other night. Second over, should have pounced on them and did not. A little mind-boggling to me. I was a little perplexed over the way that horse raced. I get really roughed up with him the week before, but his blood was good. He seemed healthy, I believe. Jason said he warmed up good. Now, Jody said he thought the hobbles were a little bit tight, and we'll address that. But all in all, a little surprised. So hopefully I get a chance to drive this horse this week. I think Jason had mentioned making some shoeing changes. I can't remember what he said he wanted to do. I remember we talked about it, and I said, yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. Can't imagine there'll be a problem there. And I can't for the life of me think of what he want to change to, but he's making a few little shoeing changes this week that he hopes will help. Peregrine Blue Chip just got back from the qualifiers. She qualified in 58 and 4 or 59. Closing on the end of it. Little off right front still. This is a filly, this breed, this rock and roll heaven breed. Man, oh man, they're like eggs. They have little cracks. They're tough. I mean, they're not tough. It's tough to keep them going. The littlest things that I believe ail other racehorses that they go with, they just can't function. And this filly's been 2 years. You know, for the people out there that own her, you know how goddamn long we've been going with Peregrine Blue Chip. This is a filly we paid into the Breeders' Crown at 2. Thought she was going to be like the real deal. And then fell apart. Took some OCDs out of her, fell apart again. Stopped her, put her in the field, brought her back. She qualified awesome today and finished hard and looked good. Still feel a few little wrinkles in her, and you know, Jason's done a great job. This is a tough nut to crack here. Qualified now. I think probably, you know, he said, what do you think? I said, geez, I wouldn't feel comfortable racing around a half right now. Why don't we school her next week, see if we can go in 56 or 57, and then we'll race her in the maiden a few times. Gonna take some time to get her, I was gonna say mojo back, but it didn't appear she had any of it yet. So I was impressed with what I saw today. Needs to do a lot more, but seems eager to do it. So optimistic about Peregrine Blue Chip. Very happy with what I saw this morning, but knowing the whole story behind her and around her, expecting a lot more. So hoping to see this filly continue this forward march and be able to race her probably in 10 days, 2 weeks. Promised Blue Chip. Jason's got her sounder now. He made a few little adjustments with her shoeing and equipment. He put a blister on her. I said, he asked me, you know, we've done vet work, and listen, for those of you out there that owned horses before or own horses now, the vet's a killer. You know, that's the big one. That's the bill that's tough to gauge, tough to keep under control, yet you have to use it. It's like people that complain about the price of gas. What are you gonna do? You gotta put it in your car. And it's the same with horses. You gotta do vet work, but you gotta be careful. And Promised Blue Chip, we did a lot of vet work on her. I saw some mild improvements. And Jason said, well, you know, maybe we'll do some more work. I said, I don't think we can. Not right now. So we're gonna have to, you know, put some blister on her, cover her up, and race her accordingly. The last 2 starts I raced her, I thought she raced great. Thought she was a little pinchy right front and right hind, pulling up again last week. But he hadn't blistered her in 2 weeks, so I think he's going back to the paintbrush this week. See if we can't get her good. She seems comfortable in that class. That filly beat her fair and square 2 starts in a row. I can't imagine she's going to be in there for much longer, so she can hit the road and we can maybe lay a beating on them for a couple of weeks. Real Willie raced like shit his last 2 starts. Was sick 2 weeks ago. This is the second time this has happened where they got this virus at this time of year. We gave them the week, tried to race them back in 10 days, and they were flat again. I think we maybe have to look at our protocol, if you will, how we go about this. We've drawn blood. We looked at the horses. They look good, but they raced flat-ish again. So I think rather than 10 days, we should look at 2 weeks and train them up real good, maybe 3 or 4 days out. Usually the 10 days should be enough. But whatever virus is floating around right now, this is the second time this has happened to us in as many weeks. And wasn't happy with Real Willie. Obviously 2 weeks ago he was sick. I think he just raced poorly the other day. We made some changes again, changed up his antibiotics, put him on some vitamins, and hopefully he'll bounce out. I think Jason said he'd rather school him this Friday than risk having another mediocre to bad line with Willie. So probably going to school him, I guess, at Mohawk on Friday. We got a bunch to qualify, so may as well take him over also. Rose Run Speedster. In all fairness to James, the horse was 5th the other night. He was coming off a break that I made with him, and James had made a break with a couple of our horses, and I did threaten to break his arm if he made a break with Speedster. So I think he was a little cautious with him. Ended up getting a bone, finished 5th, got paid. Wasn't very impressive. And if he's going to be okay, where you got to drive him in a guarded manner without hobbles, I personally believe he's a better horse without them, but I will not hesitate to say to Jason, hey, maybe what do you think of putting the hobbles back on him? I'd rather have an effective horse that can trot in 57 and you can use him how you want than a horse that can trot in 56 that you got to walk around on eggshells. So although I believe Rose Run Speedster's a better horse without them, I hadn't talked to James yet and asked him what happened the other night. I meant to. We just had breakfast together. It never came up, but I'll send him a text message and ask him what he thought. But from what I saw in London, I thought he just raced shitty. So just got to find a spot for this guy. I think if we snap the hobbles back on him, we'll be able to race him on any size track. So maybe that's what's coming in the next week or so, is Rose Run Speed's just going to find himself with some pants on. Back on, I guess. Sally DeVee, another one raced a little bit flat. I don't think this filly's very good when you let her gap. You know, and Robert Shepard is the leading driver in Canada. Fantastic driver. We're lucky to get him when we get him. This filly here, I don't know, maybe there's something bugging her, but when I drive her, I try to keep her really tight to a helmet, and she's much more effective. But Robert, I believe, has won races with her. I really done well with her, and I wasn't happy with the way she, like, I beat the shit out of her with Pay the Line Blue Chip the other night. And, you know, you had told me that 2 months ago, I'd tell you you're crazy. But I think Pay the Line Blue Chip's an extremely effective filly right now. Sally DeVee should absolutely be able to pace with those horses and be very effective herself. So, I think I'm going to drive her this week. We'll race Pay the Line in Flamborough or something. Maybe even Mohawk. She's getting close to going a big mile, that filly. I'm really impressed with what Kevin has done with her. And Sally's just kind of faded into a funk, if you will, and we're going to try and shake her chains up a little bit this week, rattle her up a little bit, and get her motivated and see if we can't get her in the mix. I didn't touch on Who's Your Muscle because she's crazy, and she's a bit of a troll, but she qualified well. We got her back, qualified her well this week. We're going to race her in London and see if she can't get me hurt or cause some destruction. She's fast filly, but man, oh man, she is psychotic, I think is the best way to put it. She's a little crazy, bounces around, you know, in the race. Beautiful filly to drive. Aggressive, you move her, she attacks, she feels like she wants to be a horse. Getting her to the race is a problem. Little aggressive in the warm-up, and in the post-parade, she can get nasty. Leaping, wanting to run. She ran last time we raced her, she ran away with me. We put a different bit in her mouth. Yeah, may as well put a dog bone in her mouth. She ran away with me for 3 laps. We should have scratched her. I just couldn't get her pulled up. They opened the wings and I put her on the gate. I really shouldn't have. Probably did herself a disservice. But she qualified well the other day, so hopefully Jason isn't. You know, I think what he wanted to do is warm her up at the farm and keep her quiet and race her at Flamborough. Flamborough doesn't have a class this week, so we got to take her down to London. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll see. We'll see. The name of the game is getting her there, getting her to the gate. If we can get her if we can get her one step out of the gate, I think we're fine because she's a better horse than that class. But she is not a happy customer and not a nice filly to deal with on the track sometimes. But we'll endeavor to get her raced. If I can get her around, I think she can beat that bunch. So, Who's Your Muscle? It will be in on Friday at London. Then we got Zeppelin B. He'll be Indigo Thursday. Zeppelin B raced good in Ohio. I had mentioned in the last video that he had a really rough time getting there. Caught at customs. A 7.5-hour ship turned into a 12-hour nightmare. Got to the farm at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, so you can't imagine he got much sleep when they feed the burn at 6, probably. I'm guessing 7. You know he's going to get up. So probably not a lot of sleep, not a lot of rest, and then race that night. Had I not known the backstory to Zeppelin B that night, I would have won instead of finishing 4th because I would have come first over and he would have beat them. In hindsight, I ended up opting to drive him a little more conservatively and ended up with a hard closing 4th, which is okay because that's not going to hurt him at all. So we still got Gail. Look, there's just like Ava and Ollie in the car. They're quiet. I can't believe Dad's quiet back there. He must have a headache or something. Maybe he fell asleep. No, always reading the paper. That's all we got to do. Anyway, that's the racehorses. That's the racehorses for this week. Decent week. Continue to weed out some of the horses as we get our 2-year-olds closer to racing. You know, we have a lot of our clients saying, geez, I'd like to get some more aged horses. Not really on our plate just yet. As we get through the summer and start to get our Indiana horses in Indiana, put your seatbelt on, Gail. These people here, I get messages all the time. Why is your seatbelt not on? Why is your seatbelt not on? It's on now. So as we get our horses to Pennsylvania and Indiana and Illinois and Ohio, Kentucky, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, we'll have spots in the barn. And once we have everything settled away, where Harry's got a bunch of the horses there, and maybe Ricky and Danny, we'll be able to, and Kevin obviously will still be there. Jason McGinnis is going to take our Ohio horses with his brother Kirby. Most of you have been to the barn know Kirby and Jason. Jason and Kirby and somebody else are going to go to Ohio with the horses. So Kevin will inherit some of those horses to train. And Harry Polton will be coming off the bench. He's going to be training some of the babies this summer. Him and Ricky and Danny, Amy and I and the kids are going to go on the road. Going to go on the road and drive some babies, have a great summer. Kids are looking up to it. I give them the opportunity. They could go into a bunch of different camps in Guelph, or they could come on the road with mom and dad and go to Indiana and Ohio. Ollie knows 6 states now. He tells me all the time he knows 6 states. His favorite state, he says, is Illinois. But I think that's because he likes to say it, because he's never been to Illinois. He's never been to Illinois. I'm going to Illinois June 13th and 15th. We are going to have the stake races start early there. So Holding Steady, Ivanka, Not an Angel, all 3 look good. Ivanka was a little tired, but we had the hobbles on her kind of tight for the open house because I didn't want her to make a break or a mistake. I believe those hobbles can probably come off her, so I'm going to whistle her over to Mohawk Thursday, free-legged if you will, no hobbles, and try and go a mile around 2.5 with her at Mohawk. No, not Thursday. That's not fair to her. Probably Friday or Saturday. I believe Not an Angel, Ivanka, and Holding Steady will all qualify the first day of June, maybe the first week of June. And then we will ship them out to Angie Coleman. Angie Coleman does a great job in Illinois, and my plan is to fly out there. I applied for my Nexus card. I wonder if I'm going to have it back in time. The only shitty thing is Amy didn't apply for hers at the same time, and the kids. So when we drive, we're going to have to be in the peasant line. But when I fly, I can hopefully use this Nexus card to cut down some travel time. Hopefully I'll go out there on the 13th and 15th. 13th and 15th for those babies. Luckily, we have a lot of Illinois clients that are out there, and I'll have lots to do when I'm there. Never even thought about what I'm going to do when I'm there. Maybe go to a White Sox game, Cubs game. What's closer to the airport, Dad? You know, Cubs or White Sox?
The White Sox are rotten, I can tell you that.
Dad says the White Sox are rotten, so I guess we'll go to the Red Sox or White Sox.
Of course, they're compared to the Yankees, no.
Oh, Dad's a Yankees fan. Here we go. My God Almighty. Anyway, that's the race horses. This is Gail, who came up. That's my mother. Crazy Fred's in the back. You all met him watching the open house. That's all the racehorses now. The big thing you're waiting for is the 2-year-olds, our movers, our horses to watch, the top 10 list, and then I'll give you my take. I actually had a video of Mario Bergeron, Sylvain Filion, and James talking about what their mounts did and what they liked, who they liked, and why they liked them. So I'm going to play that. Also, I'm going to run through the horses myself, which ones I thought were the movers of the week, the top 5 and top 10, and we'll get to it here in just a minute. So, can all say goodbye to Gail and Fred? They're leaving tomorrow. They're heading out tomorrow. For me, search of that 3,000th win. Everybody keeps asking me, when are you going to win? I really don't give a shit. I won 2,999. I'm going to win it eventually. If I was to predict my best shot, maybe Book the Better Art Seeker tomorrow, but they're like 4-1 for a reason. It'd be funny if Book the Bet won. It'd be nice to win with him. Also break his maiden for the Red Paths because they're good people. They sent us that horse, so I'd like to win with him. You know what? He might be the best shot tomorrow. He's got the rail, and I can give you a little hint. You don't have to have a Ouija board to know where I'm going with him. He's got the rail at London. He's going right down the road, and if I can hold on with him, I think he might be my 3,000th win. So hopefully that's how it works out. That's the race horses. We'll be back in just a minute with the babies.